good? Welcome to Oops All Opinions,
Welcome.
episode 24. I'm relaxed. That's that one chick, and if they have an opinion different than ours, what can they do with it?
They can argue with themselves
All right.
in the
So,
comments with yourself personally. I don't care. Just
yes.
argue amongst yourselves.
So, we are doing our second episode of the spooky season. Do you want to tell them what we're going to be
Yes.
talking about?
Today, we did talk about it last time, and we told you if you guys voted, which you can do on Spotify, then we would do something else, but you didn't. So we are doing ghosts today, ghost stories, personal ghost stories. I had a hard time finding most like came with pictures, so I had a hard time, but uh we're looking for ghost stories today. How do you
Yes.
feel about ghosts? How do we okay, and we kind of did this because we started talking about it last time and then we shut it down. Thoughts on ghosts? Do you have things that have gone on?
Yes, I'm a big believer in ghosts. I know that people try to prove that ghosts don't exist, but I also feel like, especially in like ghost hunting stuff, I feel like you kind of have to be open to things to be visited by a ghost.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're shut down, the only thing that will, I don't think even if it's real, you'll ever accept it. You'll always try to find something else. Um, so I agree. I think that the openness helps people, helps spirits to come to you.
Yeah. I mean, why would you waste your time visiting if someone doesn't believe in you?
Yeah. Right. Or like people who are like being assholes to you. I don't understand that either. I'm not here for any provoking.
No, I don't like that either. I actually was like, I'm gonna do a little like grounding before this and just, no negative
Yeah.
energy.
No.
Um, it is October 1st when we are recording this. So don't forget to do your cinnamon in the door to do your
Ooh.
blessing.
Yes. Yes, it is the first of the month. If you don't remember until you hear this, that's also okay. Just the beginning of the month, the first is recommended, but sometimes things happen or you don't know to do that. Would you like to
Mm-hmm.
give like what that could be done for anyone who may not know?
Yeah, so essentially it's you go out and you set the intention that you want for the month. So it could be, it could be even good fortune. It could just be kindness. It could be patience, but you basically ask for that to be blessed in your home or even just blessing your home and then you just simply blow the cinnamon in your doorway. Um they do say like to leave it for a day and then vacuum it up. I don't blow that much because also it's a little toxic to cats. Um,
Yeah.
so you got to make sure you're careful. Don't blow a whole ton. Like I just do like the smallest amount that can.
Yeah.
Um, so.
I do like a little tappity tap of my cinnamon
Mm-hmm.
jar, and whatever falls in my hand is the right amount of abundance I need for the month. That's
Yep.
how I think of it.
I always dump a little
Whatever
too much,
falls.
so I had to put a little in my sink, and I was like, "That's okay." But and now my hand still
Okay,
smells
here's what I
good.
do, and delicious,
It's
amazing.
so good.
Here's what I do. I don't know if it like I don't think anyone's told me to do this, but after I blow it, if there's still some in my hands, I rub it in my hands and still think
Oh,
of it and like put it like on me.
I like that.
And that's also just to get it off my hands.
No,
So,
I think that's really good. So yeah, I like doing that. I've been trying to do it consistently. Just why not? Um,
yeah.
but do you think we should kind of kick off with like a little? Have you had little ghost encounters? I know you said that those might be your actual ghost stories, but have you had any little like quick like, oop, this was a little.
Um, yes, I think growing up, it was never something that we talked about or did. However, my siblings and I always said that we had a ghost downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
and a ghost in our TV. So we would talk about it, but back then it wasn't real. And then I went to college, and that location
Right.
was very real. So, um, I have, but the thing that I the thing that I never understood about other people who would tell their ghost stories is like theirs didn't sound legit. Like they sounded like they made something up about it. And um I feel the same way when I say mine. That was very real. That
Mm,
very much happened to me, that I tell the exact same way every time I tell it, and I'm like, people don't believe that. It sounds nuts. So
right.
I
Um,
understand.
I may sprinkle a couple of mine throughout, but I wanted to share. Okay, I guess these are kind of short and they're not my stories I picked. But when we were in Salem, one of the girls on the trip took a Polaroid of the Hocus Pocus house, which
Yeah,
I keep saying that, but it's actually the rich girl's house. It's I just
Allison.
watched it. Allison. It's her house.
Allison.
She took a Polaroid. I'm hoping I can show this well. But what the hell is that? That looks like a
Yeah,
woman in a window. If you're not watching the video version, it looks like it literally looks fake. It looks like we
it does.
superimposed her on the photo, but these are just little Polaroid cameras.
Yeah, because there were a couple people who had, yeah, just the regular Polaroids. It wasn't a phone, but because it was a famous quote unquote house, everyone took pictures of that thing from all different angles, including that one.
That's even us.
And yeah, and it's like the those weren't in those other ones,
No, and it literally looks
you
like
know?
a woman going from left to right facing
Yes.
that way. And I looked at
Yes.
other photos
It
and it's
like
not in that window.
hair.
Yes.
It's
And a
so
woman did
weird.
die in that home. She caught fire.
Yes, she did.
And they said because she would throw fits, that her staff did not think that anything was actually wrong. They thought she was just throwing a fit, but she actually burned to death. And they didn't learn about stop,
She
drop, and
sure
roll.
did.
So she just,
Ran around.
yep.
Oh, relax. She ran around. She ran around.
I
It
know.
looked like
That's
she
what
was
I know.
running.
I know. That's like, oh, I zoomed in on it. That scared me. Um, it's freaking.
Don't scare. Oh, okay. In my head, I had the fire thing, but the she ran around did not hit me till right now.
I
Because
know.
that looks like it's quick. It looks like she's going fast.
Yes. No, it's freaky.
Oh,
And then the other
if
one.
you
So
could see the goosebumps on my
no,
leg.
I have them on my. That's why I'm wearing a blankie in case I'm cold and scared. But the other one I was gonna share. So I was mentioning that my family home had people running up and down the stairs. There was a time I was at a different family home, and we were all sitting in the living room, and all of a sudden we heard they had small children in the house. We heard a kid run to the kitchen and stop at the doorway, and then we heard it run back, and we all like turned and looked at each other because we were like, oh well, everyone's accounted for in this room. And they actually brought a medium, like the owner of the house brought a medium into the house, and she was like, I don't know, I'm getting the name like I don't know what name it was, but it was like close to something else, like Wes. She said, I'm getting the name Wes or something like that. And so then we looked up the history, and this lady could have been full of it. Looked up the history of the house, and it
Sure.
was a Wesley. Or it was some name that was
What?
close to the
Ah.
other. Yeah. So those are two that I was like distinct, like the picture, and then that was like ooky spooky.
And that picture was only a couple weeks ago. Like that's
No, that's so
fresh.
freaky.
That's fresh up here. Um,
um, ooh,
okay. This isn't a ghost story, and I'll preface that. Have you ever had something that like feels like it came out of like it's a jump scare, like it came out of a supernatural movie happen to you? Ends up
um,
being example. Uh, there was a time when a couple of my cousins were staying with me for staying with my parents and I for a little while, and one was, I think she was 6 or 7, and no, she wasn't that old. 5, maybe 4 or 5. She wasn't in school yet, like preschool yet. And She was a blonde, long blonde hair. Anyway, I was sitting out in the living room alone. My sister had moved out, and I felt something around me. And I turned. It's nighttime. They're in bed. The babies are in bed. My parents are out of the house or in bed. I'm the only one out there. And I just felt something next to me. And I turn, and it's just, at the time, the scariest little kid I've ever seen in my life in her nightgown. Long blonde hair in like her face, and I felt like it was a movie. It turns out it was just my sweet little baby just needing a drink of water or something, but that did feel like that did feel real. Anyway, I just thought of that for no reason.
All right. Well, it is even, so you will kick us off actually.
Yes. Okay, I will also look some up in case mine are too short or not entertaining enough. Um, okay. The I have one. All of these happened in college, by the way, just different times and things. I will start with this one. Um, I had a boyfriend who was sleeping over, and we were sleeping, and when in my dream I had a dream that I woke up and we had single rooms, so it was just the two of us. I had a dream that I woke up and I looked in my room and there was a little girl there. She was probably about 7, 8, and she also had blonde hair. Like, I remember seeing her. She was standing in my room, and she said, "I'm really scared. Can I come sleep with you?" And I said, "Sure." Like, come on in. And I like watched her get in bed, and then I fell back asleep in my dream. And then I went on my like woke up. I didn't really think about it or anything. And my during the next day, he and I were standing there talking to another friend, and the topic of dreams came up. And I said, "I kind of had a weird one last night. This little girl came up in my dream and asked if she could get in bed with us, and I said yes." And he looked at me, and his face dropped significantly. And he looked the most scared I've ever seen this man look in his life. And he said, "Was she blonde?" And I said, "Yeah." Mm-hmm. And he goes, "She's been following me since I was a kid."
Ew.
So anyway, I said, like, there was nothing else to say. He hadn't seen her in a very long time. We had never talked about it. Anyway, so I let his childhood ghost in our bed, and then we broke up. That's not why, but maybe it was. So that was a pretty that was one where I know it wasn't just me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, someone else was involved, and we had a witness. So that one may not be. I don't even know if any of these are good. But they're so real to my brain. Another one that's not as exciting, won't take up much of like another, is there was a specific staircase. Did I talk about this last week? There was a staircase in like one of our main buildings where if you were on it alone, how do you explain one of these? Like, you walk up this one, then you walk up this one to the stairs.
Yeah.
Like, this is a door, this is a door.
Yeah.
Like an L or whatever. When you got to the middle little landing to turn to go up the next set, as you started going up the next one, you heard a squeak of a shoe from the bottom, and you felt something rush behind you, like someone was trying to get to the door before you did. And the first time that was told to me, I thought people were like making it up, or that the door made a noise and everyone just made up the other thing. It was the most real feeling I've ever felt in my life, and I did not use those stairs again unless I was with someone.
Ugh, yeah.
Okay, I'll stop there.
All right.
They're just weird, but weird. What did you look up, by the way? How did you get to your ghost
Um,
stories?
so I
I'm
did
so
find
used to Am I the Asshole
I
that
did get
I
one
have a hard
from
time.
Am I the Asshole? But then I just went through
Okay.
like ghost stories, and then you have to go through comments and find them.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with this one that the prompt was, "What are your real life ghost stories you like to tell on dark and stormy nights?" So this one is, I know it sounds like something straight out of a movie, but it's 100% what happened to me about 24 years ago. When I was still relatively newly married, my then husband and I moved into a townhouse. Oh, I made it big. Okay. Into a townhouse style apartment. The two floors of our apartment were on the second and third floors of the building. And the management office and mailbox area was almost directly below us on the ground level, important for later. You can't be barking out into the dark abyss right now. The woman who managed the building was older, didn't care for the property well, and usually spent most days chain smoking Camel non filters in her office. And being a hateful old racist, imagine renting a place from Juno, the social worker from Beetlejuice, but less helpful. She really resented what we had at the townhouse, claiming we lied about my being pregnant when we moved it in because she didn't want to rent that unit to people with kids. She also made a few disparaging remarks about my husband due to his race. She was a real peach, truly. So after kiddo was born, I was a stay-at-home mom, just busy keeping the house clean and the baby occupied without a car or local mom friends. After lunch, the kiddo needed a bath. Anyone who's fed a 9-month-old baby food knows the mess that can happen, so I went upstairs and ran the tub. Soon I had the baby sitting happily splashing in one of those suction cup bath seats. Important to note, it's the middle of winter and we had no heat, an issue I'd been fighting Juno the landlord about for a while. Among other maintenance issues like my arcing ceiling fan, or the garbage disposal that was held on with duct tape and leaked. We basically had to keep a space heater or two in every room to keep the chill off. I had taken one of the space heaters in the bathroom to keep the bathroom warm enough for bath time, and I had it sitting out of reach and splashing distance on top of my bathroom counter. I was standing in the bathtub getting ready to lift the baby out when all of a sudden the space heater started to rock back and forth. And when it had not been rocking before, I had this horrible feeling of dread as I looked at the heater, and I just reacted because I knew I couldn't get both of us out of the tub in time. I reached down to grab the baby seat and ended up pulling it up off the tub and dropping the baby over the side of the tub to the bathroom floor. Just as the heater got to the end of the cord, it thumped into the shower door, bounced off the edge of the tub, and landed on its side on the floor a couple of inches away where it shut off, had the auto shut off in case it got tipped over. When I looked over to the corner of the bathroom, that part of the room seemed to just get darker, like it was filling up with shadows. There was no smoke, no change in lighting, no windows, so no sun going behind a cloud. It was just darker. I also started to smell cigarette smoke, Camel non-filters, which I knew the smell of well from it being Juno. Okay, how do they keep bringing up the no filters? How do you
I,
know?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I was honestly, that was as someone who in college I decided I was going to smoke sometimes outside. They all smell the same to me.
That's
How
what,
would you
yeah.
know?
That's what, yeah. I was like, did you see her box? And
Okay.
did it, you're just like, ooh, I don't know. Um,
Like that was
I,
very specific. Okay.
which I knew the smell of well being in Juna's office all the time to get things fixed. The smell was so thick it made me cough and my chest ached. But I couldn't see any smoke haze, and I felt this overwhelming sensation of hatred and malice, like someone was standing there giving me a death glare. I grabbed the baby and a towel and ran downstairs. I was so freaked out, I couldn't bring myself to go back up there. So I used some diapers from the diaper bag to kept the baby wrapped in the towel and cuddled up to stay warm. I stayed down there the entire rest of the day until my husband got home. Every so often, I'd look up the stairs at the bathroom, but I didn't want to take the baby up there, and I was afraid to leave him alone downstairs. When he asked me why the baby wasn't dressed, I told him about the heater and the smoke in the bathroom, and he went up to check, figuring it was yet another maintenance issue. There was no electrical issue, no damage to the outlet, no smoke, no cigarette smell. He put the heater back on the counter and turned it on, watched it for a few minutes, and it didn't rock, so it didn't rock itself off the counter earlier. He laughed it off, but later that day we heard Juno's adult son downstairs near their yell box yelling his head off at people, and that's when he found out she had a massive heart attack in her office earlier that day, and he'd found her dead in her chair with a Camel non-filtered still in her hand.
Whoa, 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 whoa. That's a good one.
Really long, a lot of details. I got partway through and I was like, I don't want to keep reading this. This is so much.
No, I believe that people can, like, when someone dies, someone can feel it or someone can
Mm-hmm.
smell it. I think that that's especially if their spirit like kind of goes through things to get to wherever they're going, that sorry my guy, you're gonna smell like camel unfiltered until even in death apparently,
Mm.
which some people may be into that, so
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the non-filtered camels did not prevent the heart attack, you know? Definitely helped it.
yeah, yeah, or at least quicker. I'm just kidding, I'm not. Hey, everyone do what you want. I'm not your mom unless I am, in which case don't smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I did find one. Actually, I don't want to leave my other mine for last because it's not. It's so scary to me. I know it won't mean anything else to anyone else. Okay. In This is my one that completely changed my beliefs, completely like made me an actual believer. Um it was my first year of college. In my dorm, there were two floors, but the upstairs was getting renovated to be dorms. No one lived up there. It was padlocked most of the time, unless the people were there to work on them. It was about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and I needed to take a shower. Our dorm it kind of looked like a U. So each of the U sides were our hallways, and then the middle part was like our living room. The boys' hallway had a private bathroom, so it was just you walk in. I just knocked my mic. You walked in, you could lock the door behind you, toilet, one shower, while the women's side was you walk in, there's sinks, toilet stalls, two shower stalls. So it wasn't really private. And the guys also had hotter water for longer times. So I went to the boys' side and was in the shower doing, I don't know, doing my thing. But in the middle of it, I heard noise above us or above me. So which isn't out of the ordinary if people are up there working. But I heard specifically like a woman not singing words, but you know like when people just sing the tunes of things where it's
Mm-hmm.
not words, it's just sounds. And I was like, these workers listen to very interesting music. It sounded like she was singing opera or not quite that, but that type of vibe. And so I was like, I mean, I guess whatever they're into,
Yeah.
really. And about the time when I started thinking that, the stall itself sounded like someone was on either side of it, just pounding the hell out of it as if to scare me. Like they came in and they were trying to
Mm-hmm.
scare me and whatever. And so I was scared. They got me, is what I was thinking. So I hurried, I got done. Um, Usually if I was in the guy's side, I would get completely dry, completely dressed before I left. I'm not gonna be in a towel. I did not do that because when I got out and looked at the door, it was still locked. So no one could have come in, and it was like a hook lock. Like
Mm-hmm.
no one could have done that from if they left. So I put my towel around me and I booked it out of the hallway. And when I was in like the living room part to get back to my side, one of my friends was in the living room and she looked at me and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Can you just go see if they're on the second floor?"
Mm-hmm.
Because we would be nosy if people they would leave it unlocked sometimes, and we would go be nosy. But if they weren't there, that thing was padlocked. No one could get up there.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want a bunch of 18-year-olds touching their shit. And so they walked up the stairs, and the padlock was very, very much on
Mm-hmm.
it. So there was no one above me. There was After getting dressed and going back into the hallway to investigate, no one on the rooms on either side were even there. One room was completely empty. They hadn't been there. They were at baseball practice. The other one, maybe he was there, but he was like deep in a video game. He didn't care. So that was my big one that I will never forget. The feeling I felt, I will never forget the sound of that lady. I will never forget it sounding like people on either side of the stall were pounding on the walls. And it never happened to anyone else.
Mm.
So it wasn't the pipes. It wasn't something weird. But that one happened at 18, and I've been a very firm believer since 18 because of that. So that one was my catalyst to being a complete and total believer in that, and not just stories, I guess,
Yeah.
or movies or something. So that's my big one. Again, I feel like the people who just say their stories that sound so big, and to them I know now that it really did affect them. But if you just hear it, it's not as, at least to me, I feel like if you wrote this down, people wouldn't be like, yeah, I get it.
Right.
Or they think I was making it up, and it just so isn't. And we really did try to debunk as much as possible, and we just couldn't. And so 18 is when I really started really believing in it. So
I mean, yeah. I just feel like too, like there's so many, like I know I was showing the picture, but I was like, my siblings all have a bunch of pictures where they've taken stuff. Like I remember one they took of a campfire or a bonfire we were having at our house, and there is clearly a face of a soldier, clear as day. And these were when the cameras on our phone, it was like 2008. Like we had crappy,
yeah,
but it wasn't like blurry. Like you could. So I don't know. I feel like there's so many
interesting.
images even before like AI and like Photoshop got good. Like, yeah.
Yep. I agree. That's why I like Polaroids. That's why I like old cameras, or just cameras that aren't on your phone, like actual cameras. I think that those are not that if you only have a phone, please use it if you're ghost hunting, if you're trying to find evidence. But I think that just digital cameras or those Polaroid cameras are so cool. And I more legit in a way.
Yes. No, I get what you mean. Okay. This one comes from also Ask Reddit, and it's, what is the creepiest, most unexplainable paranormal experience you've ever had? I keep scrolling up and then I'm like, I don't remember where it was. Okay.
No.
This happened when I was 17. When I was still living at my childhood home, I was sneaking out late at night to meet some friends. I went through the back door of the house, and as I turned to face the door, I just could feel somebody watching me. I thought I was busted. I turned to look at who had caught me and saw a totally monochrome figure. The hair was completely black, like blacker than black. Her face was like static, washed over white gray, and she was wearing a dress that was in between the two colors. No facial features, just a silhouette of a young girl facing me. I reached out for the door as fast as I could, and I went to shut it and closed it very quickly on me. I bolted through my yard and onto the street and couldn't shake the feeling as being followed. I stayed at my friend's that night. Soon after this happened, I was up late with my mom watching a movie. My dad had just passed away. We finished our movie up and say goodnight after turning the TV, stereo, receiver, and DVD player all with their own remotes. After a short amount of time in bed, I am jarred awake by the sound of static with the speakers cranked up and the TV on with no input. My mom and I meet in the hallway, surprised to see that we had both been awoken to an empty house. A few years ago, when I was 23-ish and graduated from college, I finally told my family about the first occurrence. Before I'm able to finish my description of the ghost, she finishes it for me, telling me that her and her friend used to see a little girl in our backyard playing in a sundress. She said she looked maybe 12. Our neighbor, who was the original owner, shared a story with us about the family that originally bought the house, I about said house after it was built. It was a young family whose daughter passed away from leukemia. She would have been about that age. Looking back, the girl wasn't scary or harmful. My sister had the same impression. To this day, I believe what we saw and haven't seen anything like it ever since. Edit. I also want to say that my dog used to scare the crap out of me because he would randomly stare down the hallway to my sister's room and he would growl with his hair on end. It would always freak me out, and I never connected the two until sometime after seeing the ghost or whatever it may have been.
Oh, that
Yeah.
also gave me chills.
Yeah, okay, because I was like, did his sister also pass? Because he mentions his sister, but the sister wasn't the one they saw the stuff with. It was the mom.
Yes. So maybe the sister never saw it, but she had agreed that the
Yeah.
presence didn't sound bad, I guess.
Yeah. Also, Kick got podcasts now, so now we don't have to label it as that we're just chatting. People can know that they're actually coming to listen to a podcast.
Exciting. Wow, that is exciting, actually. Okay, I did find one. I will say, one of the comments on it said that it's really sad. I did not read anything yet. So,
Okay.
this is just from Ask Reddit, what is your own ghost story?
Mm-hmm.
And then the person immediately said, not my personal experience, which we love.
I hate when people do that. Nothing makes me more mad. Not mine.
Then what
but...
does this mean to you? Not mine.
Or when they say like, can a doctor weigh in? And they're like, not a doctor, but a PE teacher. And here, like, it's just like, I'm not asking for your, like, I don't want your input.
Well, then I'm not asking. Yes. Okay. Anyway, it says, not my personal experience, but my little brother. When he was about 5 or 6, he suddenly started talking to himself when he was playing in his room. Eventually, we asked him who it was he was talking to, thinking it was an imaginary friend. My stepdad didn't believe in ghosts and all that until he told us who he was talking to, Amanda. Amanda was my stepdad's cousin that died from cancer when she was only 12. The last place she was at, other than the hospital, was our old property. Another incident with Amanda happened while me and my brother were at school and my mom was at work. My stepdad was watching TV in the living room and all the animals were in the room with him. He had just finished cleaning up my brother's toys and putting them in the box in the corner of his room. There was a loud clattering sound from my brother's room and my stepdad went to check it. The box of toys was upside down in the middle of the room, all of the toys still in the box. The animals couldn't have possibly done it because they were all with him, and let's be real, they aren't capable of doing such a thing. He later on told us that's something only Amanda would do. I refuse to mention or talk about these experiences around him because it hits him hard. The way he described her, she was a sweet and childish girl that just wanted to have fun. I never had any encounters with her, but she was my brother's best friend. He eventually stopped seeing her, and he told us she didn't want to make Andy sad anymore, so she went away. I cry thinking about this. It is sad.
Yeah. I only laughed at the name Amanda because of that one audio that's like, hi,
That's
I'm Amanda.
I'm Amanda.
It's the grown man saying,
Yeah.
hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Amanda.
That is sad.
It is sad, but we had kind of talked about little kids seeing and feeling things more than adults do.
Mm-hmm.
And I just truly think that's real.
Yeah.
Oh. No, I'll keep it with ghost stories because what were we? Oh, I don't know if it was on here or if we were just talking about it, but it was when people come back, what's that called? They're like past lives.
Reincarnation.
Yeah, reincarnation. That kids have a lot of those stories, and I still think that's very, very true.
Yeah.
Me too. Didn't they had like a whole show of it, and I ate that up.
Oh, yeah.
Where they like some parents tried to go back to find where the kid was from, and the kid was like, the one I really remember was there was one that was a pilot and one that was like in the Navy. And both of them, when they saw the boat or the plane, were like, that's it. Mm-hmm. Like, that's in like a sea of, I almost said a sea of planes while also talking about boats or talking about, yeah. Um, they were like, "Oh, it's that one." I was like, "Okay, that is a little, you do have me. I am th- I already think that kids have like a better understanding and can see things more, but those when they're super specific.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I told my mom I was going to go hang out with my friend who was in our kitchen that was not real.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Have you ever thought about doing like the past life like exploration where you like sit down with the professional who like walks you through how you could maybe see what you were previously if you were to believe in that?
I have not.
Yeah, you can do it
Hmm.
yourself too. I've heard of people doing that, but that's too scary because some people are like, my previous life was better than my current life, so I didn't really want to come back. And I'm like,
Oh,
yikes.
oh, oh no. Take me home.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, all right. So I have this one that's actually from Am I the Asshole? It's the only ghost one that
Okay.
wasn't actual ghosting. Um,
Ghosting. Yeah, saw a lot of those.
so this one is Am I the asshole for telling my sister in law that her house is haunted? 29 female. My sister in law is 42 female, inherited her dad's old farm back some years ago after his passing, and for the past month, she has been renovating the place. She asked for me and my husband's help as her husband has a bad back and can't do much. So my husband, myself, and our three kids have been staying at this house with her for the past couple of weeks. The house isn't in bad shape or anything, and most of the issues we are running into is plumbing or cosmetic. The frame, walls, and roof are solid, which is impressive considering the age and how long it's been in the family, built in the late 1800s. I don't want to point out that I'm in no way paranormally inclined. I can't see things or anything like that, but I can sense shit. So basically, your average person. I'm not afraid of it, but something is definitely off about this house beyond your expected old house sounds. Like lights turning on and off by themselves, doors opening and closing, or leaving something somewhere and it being a completely different spot when you go back to get it. Yesterday, I put a hammer on the windowsill and went to grab the paint scraper by the door, and when I turned back around, the hammer was on top of the ladder behind me, which I wasn't near. Or my favorite, not it's irritating. I've opened a canned soda twice and taken one sip of it, and when I got back to the soda, it's gone. And no, my kids aren't in the rooms with me when this stuff happens. I'm all alone when it does. But last night was weird. I woke up several times to the sensation of being shaken, and the last two times I could vividly hear the word hey close to my ear. My husband and kids were all sleeping, so this morning over coffee, I made some backhanded comment of, your house is haunted. And sister in law freaks out, tells me to shut up and that I'm an asshole for putting that in her head. I didn't even tell her what happened, but now she doesn't want to go back to her house and has been working on the yard. She says I completely ruined her idea of this house and should have kept my mouth shut. Am I the asshole?
What? No. No. That first of all, your house is haunted.
Also, you should check for carbon monoxide though, because girl, some of that stuff
What?
sounds like the hammer and the soda pop. You could just be having some poisoning.
Yes. Let's yeah, because then it's like I feel like that's a lapse of time that you're missing.
Um, so overall vote, asshole. Everyone is really mad at her for telling this 42-year-old woman that her house is haunted.
Shut
I,
the
I think,
fuck up.
I'm sorry, if someone's like, ooh, your house is haunted, I'm not gonna be like, well, I don't like it anymore. I'm not mad at
How
you.
dare you say my house is haunted? Now I'm too scared to go there. Was it not? Here's the thing. I think she knew that weird shit was happening and it
Yes.
took someone else being like weird shit's happening for her to be like, "Oh, well now it's your fault."
I kind of forgot the ages of the people because I was like, these reactions are very childish for everyone. And then I was like, it's a 29-year-old and a 42-year-old.
Right. And she didn't even say or I can't what OP didn't even say it in a way that was like you should
Right.
like Here's everything that's been going on. Also, if I ever, the thought of someone or no one shaking me and saying, hey, in my ear makes me want to throw up.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Ghost, listen, I want to see you. But only when, like, I want to. If you ever shake me, I don't know who I'm talking to, the ghost in the room apparently. If you ever shake me or talk to me while I'm sleeping, we're gonna throw hands. That's
I
too much.
I love this comment and I've never heard of this. Okay, so they say you're American, I'm assuming. A suspected haunting reduces a property value by a third. But of course your sister has just paid full whack on inheritance taxes. Full whack on inheritance taxes. Aren't you a peach to be causing this problem for her? Is that real?
Up. No, people want. Could you imagine? Literally any of the hotels that we've been looking at to go to, trying to be sold. How many people would be on that?
Yeah.
People want haunted stuff. When was this done?
This is all 2 years ago. You're the asshole. I don't believe in paranormal shit, but list a bunch of fake paranormal shit and to call a house haunted. Come on now, your problem is not knowing how electricity works, how wind works, and apparently a case of Alzheimer's light. Stop with that nonsense. Why is everyone so mad at this person?
Why? See, this is what I mean. Where if people have legitimate experiences and people are like, "You're an idiot.
Well,
How dare you?"
like, I guess the only thing I can agree with is if you know that the sister-in-law was going to be like, oh, ghost, then maybe don't.
But I think that means the sister knew
Yeah.
that things were happening. It's such a weird reaction. Even if you knew things were happening. No, I think if it came out of nowhere, you'd be like, what? What are you talking about? Like that, no. But if you knew things were happening and someone said that, that's when you would do this and get weird.
I just think it's crazy that a 42-year-old woman is like losing her mind over this. Sorry. Like, I know that you can be afraid of things. Like, I would obviously be like, you think my house is haunted? But I wouldn't like lose my mind.
No, like let's talk about it then. What happened?
Yeah, because if it's
How
someone
can
said,
we
how do we know it's not only you, lady? How do we know you're not bringing a
Right.
ghost with you?
Right. Yeah, are you haunted?
That
Or
one was so funny.
that one is funny. What a weird what a weird reaction. We still have time. I looked up another one if
Sure. Yeah.
you want to keep going. Okay. This one I did not I haven't read it. It's from Am I Overreacting? And it's Am I Overreacting for thinking my house is haunted or someone's in my house?
Okay. See, that's the big fear. Is it a ghost? Is someone in my house, or is it I'm having
Is it a
hallucinations?
ghost or is it a
Is it in my
frogger?
head?
Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I have, and it's
Froggers?
scary.
Get out of town. Well, we're gonna find out. Okay. I'm gonna be so real. I feel like someone's living in my house. I woke up in the middle of the night due to noise of opening and closing doors outside my room, and squeaky sounds from closing them too. I know I'm not crazy because the first thing that happened when I woke up was my mother asking me if I was up last night using my phone and opening and closing doors and turning lights on and off. I swear, if you were up on your phone last night, that was the end of that sentence. I swear if you were up on your phone last night. After I told her it wasn't me, we questioned everyone else who also said it wasn't them. Just so you guys know, it's not anyone playing a prank. My sisters are scaredy cats, and it's serious in our house not to do anything that overly scared someone. Not to mention, we hear this at nighttime a lot, but last night was especially louder. Also, I know this is going to sound crazy, but the other day I took a shirt off my bed and put it on the floor beside it and just laid down and fell asleep. The next morning when I woke up, the shirt was on the mini couch in my room. I was the last to fall asleep and the first to wake up, so I know it's no one in between. Regardless, I still asked my mother, who said, I didn't do it, and your father and sisters are still asleep like rocks. I love this mom.
I know. What
We
is your
often,
mom, an old timey like? I
your,
don't know.
your mom, like an old prospector, maybe? Um, we often also hear noises coming from the basement, and the basement light turned on, and no one's been there for weeks. Hmm. And the creepiest part is that the lock of our basement door is broken. Huh.
We'll fix
Ugh,
that.
that gave me goosebumps. I don't like that. And our backyard is shared, so we have no fence. Someone's in your house.
Yeah.
Hey, OP, someone's in your house, and you should get that fixed. We even hear the front door opening and closing a lot. One time there was so much noise coming from the basement that my father went down with a knife to investigate. I seriously feel scared and know it's not an old house. It's new, and we were the first people to live in it. And that's the end.
Is OP alive?
Um, Also, this was 3 months ago.
Oh,
Someone did say, okay, have you tried setting up cameras, like hidden
thank
ones, and
you.
just watching the footage? That will confirm or deny your suspicions.
Yeah.
Um, they said no.
That'd be the
Um,
first thing I would do.
Absolutely. When I found a random pack of cigarettes in my home after being gone for 2 days, I put up my camera system so
Yeah.
quickly. And we still don't know the culprit, but I think it doesn't matter. If I had doors opening and shutting, the first thing I'm doing is putting up cameras.
100%.
Secret cameras, whatever kind of cameras, it doesn't matter. Yeah, what a wild ride. Someone's in your house. Okay, I wanted to think it was a ghost at the beginning. But then when they said they hear a lot of things from the basement's open and they don't have a fence and there's no lock. Hey, there's someone in your house.
Yes.
There's someone there.
100%.
Yep.
Ew.
I hated that.
I know. And
Also, did I mention that there was a cemetery on my college campus?
I think so.
I don't remember if yeah. That just reminded, because I was thinking if it's a new house, their house, like maybe it's on top of an old cemetery that didn't have
Right. Like the unmarked
stones
graves.
or whatever. Yeah.
Mm.
But okay, but I've heard that people don't hang out at their cemeteries. They don't hang out where their bodies are. They hang out where their spirits used to be.
I think it
Ghosties,
depends.
at least.
Of
The person.
when Vince brought out the person because he kept hearing someone say his name when he would stay at our house.
Yeah,
The
you did tell me
person
that.
said that the cemetery near our home, that all the spirits had moved into the house. And so they weren't in the cemetery anymore. They're just in our house. So I
Yeah.
think it maybe depends. I could see them being in their state. I'm guessing it's just kind of up to the spirit, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, or like you live in wherever you were, but the second your body, like your actual
Right.
body's disturbed, you head back, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, but that was the only thing. If it's a new house and no one's lived there before, it's kind of hard to
Yeah.
see where they would come from, but
Right. Well, that was a fun episode, but now I'm like,
almost.
I gotta go take my dogs outside. I'm a little scared. I'm gonna make Sam go with me, I think.
Please, Sam, you have to.
Because being near
Keep
a
the ghost
forest
away.
at night, you hear everything.
Oh, absolutely. I think so many spirits live in forests.
Yeah.
I think there are so many things in forests.
Yeah. So, but that was Oops All Opinions episode 24. If you liked what you heard or didn't like what, still give us a review. 5 stars, leave us a comment. We'll read it on here for you. We appreciate any of that. You can also vote in our poll this week. It's still going to be spooky themed. But we're the only ones voting, so you can change things.
No, hey.
We
No,
don't
there
know.
are so many people voting, but your
Right.
one could make a difference.
That could. So, yeah. thank you for listening. And if they didn't like our opinions or they think ghosts aren't real, what can they do with that?
They can crawl in OP's basement with no lock and argue with themselves and the other person who lives in it.
Uh-huh. Very good. So thank you, and we'll be back in a couple weeks.
Yay!
Bye.
Bye-bye!